Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Cadenhead Amateur Dram Antique Society tasting. Tonight I'm going to look at Balvenie independent bottlings of it. Now, Balvenie in all but name. Balvenie protect their name robustly, and it's very rare to see an indie bottling labelled as the Balvenie. When they pass it on to indie bottlers, they teaspoon the cask with a drop of Glenfiddich or Kininvie, and thus it becomes a blended malt. Cadenhead own the rights to the Burnside name, which they bottle their teaspoon Balvenie under, and thus other indies must come up with something else. And we've got three: one a Burnside, one a Duncan bottling, and one a Decadent Drams bottling. The new make of Balvenie, it has quite a heavy nose and it's very nutty with cereal, but with a great solid concentration of fruits behind that. It smells very clean and sweet, and the palate gives cereal, and it's robust. It tastes right with nuts and muesli, and it's sweet on the mouth. The finish is nutty and clean. So let's see what we have here tonight. First up, I've got three samples. One is a Cadenhead Burnside, aged 14 years at 65% ABV. So this is a bit of a bumper. It was matured in a refill sherry hogshead. So yeah, Burnside is what's known as a teaspoon malt, and this means that a tiny amount of whiskey from another distillery is mixed with whiskey from one distillery. So it can't be sold as a single malt under any distillery's name. Teaspoon malts are a delightful ally. There's an overwhelming amount of pretentiousness surrounding single malts. A splash of another whiskey not only safeguards the brand's reputation, but also has minimal effect on the overall flavour profile. But what it can do is save you a few quid, which is a priority for us all these days. So Burnside is essentially a Balvenie with a hint of Glenfiddich mixed in. And to be honest, it might be the closest I get to enjoying a true Balvenie these days. While some are deeply enamoured with the distillery and its offerings, which is cool, I find that the core range often leads towards the pricey side or serves as more as an introductory dram. And in addition, some of the older, exorbitantly priced vintages can come off as a bit soapy. But that's the nature of whiskey. And I've found myself in a position where I have other preferences. But saying that, my brother is a big Balvenie man, and I've had some solid Burnside expressions as well. This one was £60. It was distilled in 2010, and after 14 years, full maturation in an Oloroso hogshead, was bottled in 2024, and a total of 76 bottles were released. So let's see what we have here. This is natural colour, unchill filtered, and it's got a lovely hue. Lovely dark copper hue. And it has lovely tears. Quite a sticky one. You can see the legs on that. And it's not the beast I was expecting. There's brown sugar, orange peel, and cola cubes. I've been doing some painting today. I'm painting a Christmas scene, and I'm getting canvas, brass rubbings, toast, toffee, and biscuits. You can see the tears there now, the legs. It is dominated by sherry notes, prune juice, raisins, and sultanas. And there's a hint of black pepper. But there's surprisingly little to indicate the ridiculously high ABV. There's some notes of flat cola, cinnamon, fudge, and toffee cinders. And there's more sherry here than the whiskey's colour would suggest. We'll try them out. And it's very subtle. Classic Balvenie in that regard. Once again, it's all about the sherry. Raisins, prunes, and plums dominate. You get notes of honey, Christmas cake, and cola begin to emerge. And it's surprisingly smooth for its ABV. Oats, syrup, it's quite warming, and you get caramel now. Tangerines, grated carrot, a bit of wood spice, and raspberries, all quite gentle. And again, the colour doesn't quite give away just how sherry this dram really is. And the mouthfeel is decent, and the finish is a good length, with a pleasant amount of lingering sweetness. I'm gonna add 5 drops of water to this. 6 actually. I can see the symmetry there, water gently getting absorbed there. And it's a similar nose, it's brown sugar, toffee, a bit malty, but the sense of cloves, ginger beer, and aniseed, and the cola note has become more pronounced with water. And it's quite like it was without water, but gets a bit more spice and a slight dryness. And the mouthfeel remains unchanged, as does the finish. But there's a hint of cinnamon spice on the finish. Now there are another 5 drops of water. Starting at 65. I'll take it down a bit and see how we go. And it gets more cola cubes. Lots of sweetness. Prune juice again. Try them out. I'll add in a bit more water. Reduces the spice again. Becomes a bit drier though. It's not as sweet as it was at the beginning. And the spiciness again goes down with more water. It might feel a little bit less secure. I admit that I expected this to be something else. Truth is, it feels polished yet somehow subdued. It seems that the whisky is probably at a crossroads, uncertain of its path forward, which might explain why it was chosen for bottling at this moment, before it veers off course. If you enjoy Balvenie, then you'll appreciate this easy drinker. It may disappoint you, though, because the cask influence has overwhelmed or it's overshadowed the distinct spirit character of Balvenie. And it's left behind a well executed but somehow simple sherry bomb. I wouldn't recommend adding water, as the few additional notes in the nose don't justify the extra spice and slight dryness it introduces to the palate. But it is a solid entry into the Cadenhead Authentic collection. I'm going to cleanse my palate with some Balvenie infused whiskey fudge. Very nice it was too. So next up, we're going to Duncan Taylor single cask, the Huntley, 1996, 27-year-old, bottled at 52.8%. This Duncan Taylor single cask, 227408, was spilled in 1996 and aged for 27 years before being bottled in 2024, producing 220 bottles at cask strength of 52.8%. And it's another teaspoon Balvenie. I'm unsure if it's with Kininvie or Glenfiddich. I think this is almost certainly a bourbon cask, judging by the number of bottles and also 27 years. And that colour, compared to the colour of the 14 years in the Oloroso Hogshead, does tend to suggest this is a bourbon one. Oh, it's got a very thin tide line. Not bad legs, quite slow. And it's completely different. I'm now getting blueberry jam. It's a malty sweetness. Toasted oak. Cinnamon and a touch of pepper. It's quite light, with buttermint and a sweet mint mouthwash. It hints vaguely at clove and oak, and something almost seaweedy. There's a bit of ham fat, peanut oil, a bit of cigarette smoke. Then you get the full-on parade of barleys, beers, and all manner of fresh breads. I'll try them out. It's like creamy vanilla ice cream and caramelized bananas. And you get a sort of warmth of gentle spice and sweet oak. Vanilla toffee and a bit salty spirit suggesting blueberries. And the caramelized oak has nice intensity, but not good bourbon levels. The balance between the fruity esters and the sweet and dry aspects of the oak is quite pleasing. Blueberry muffin, and then you get the salt and the mint and the drying oak all at once. Apples, plums, waxes, grapefruit and fats. It's got quite a thick texture profile, which is quite striking. Pink grapefruit and champagne. And the finish is light spice, oaky, drying, and vanilla and berries. Quite a long finish, austere, herbs and yeast, and a touch of paraffin there on the end. I'll try 5 drops of water in this. And it's still very much on barley and beer, which is hardly something to complain about. This is a Balvenie that's not seen a drop of sherry in its whole life. And it would sit somewhere between Bushmills and Little Mill. Mirabelles abound. Orange bonbons, papaya, dandelions and buttercups. And pink grapefruits. And it's very nice, very easy, very well carved. Try the mouth. It's quite beery. Perhaps a little too much on sweets. And jelly babies for me. There's some sour fruit too, chutneys, passion fruits, then meringue, lemon and rhubarb pie. It's a very good whiskey, but I think the nose is just slightly superior. And it's very good in the finish. Some very nice IPA. Yeah, it's just like you quaffed a pint of very good quality IPA. This is pretty good, above average for sure. Certainly something refined about it, and just enough complexity. I rather like that whiskey. Elegant, floral, fresh fruit, vanilla, bit of honey. Not much spice, to be honest. So we'll have our second fudge. So, third up is the Decadent Drams Sideburn, 31 years old at 53.6%. So, this blended malt from Decadent Drinks combines 2 casks of whiskey from William Grant and Son distilleries, and they've called it Sideburn to sidestep the copyright of Cadenhead to the Burnside name. It's another teaspoon Balvenie, and it features a mix of a 1992 refill barrel and a 1993 first fill barrel, and there are 461 bottles. And it's quite pale again. So this is, last two have certainly been the oldest Balvenies I've ever had. And it's very emblematic of Balvenie, mirabelles, apples, quince, vanilla, not too ripe banana, and tiny hints of mint and sorrel. It's creamy, vanilla, sweet, fresh, orchard fruit, citrus, a bit of nuts, orange soda, and mint. It's like creamy lemonade, ground pepper, yellow pear, just spicy and clovey enough, bit of tobacco leaf, rose petals, and a bit of menthol there. Try them out. Beyond the zestiness, there's a green, almost brutal side that's a little unusual for Balvenie. Creamy, sweet vanilla, lots of citrus, orange, grassiness, orchard fruit, mint, nuts, a bit of floral, caramel, toffee. It's like pear puree with caramelized crust, ground pepper, dried apricots, cloves, buttercream, and that distinct floral note, burnt caramel, vanilla, There's a little tropical note and ginger. The finish is medium length. It's long, consistent, fruity, sweet, slightly citrusy. Some wood, nuts, and coffee beans. And the floral tones continue into the aftertaste. It's a good woodiness and pleasant tannins. We'll try 5 drops in this 53.6% dram. And now it's like an ocean of yeasts and beery notes, softened by vanilla. And it's light, delicate, and full of fruity deliciousness. There's a sliver of waxiness. It's nothing too distinct, but it's noticeable nonetheless. And there's hints of heather honey and yellow fruits, mainly underripe banana, but also pineapple, and then some spring-like floral notes to finish. We'll try them out. And it feels almost 1970s in style. Yellow fruits, stones, little herbs, oolong tea, chamomile, quinces. And it's got a pleasant waxy mouthfeel with a small pinch of white pepper, but more of that heather honey. There's some light citrus notes and Werther's Original, as well as dried apricots and dried pineapple. Just a touch of breakfast cereals in the background. And the finish is medium length. It's got light spices, luscious fruits, and a delightful waxiness. This is not an ultra demonstrative whisky, but this blended malt couldn't be any closer to the natural house style of its main distillery. It's just an exemplary older Speyside whisky, full of waxes and fully delicious fruity notes. I would say each of these teaspoon Balvenies give any of the core range a run for the money and a fraction of the cost. I think the indy bottles are worth seeking out if you like Balvenie and find the cost too high. Thanks for listening.